don't know if it was on before. Oh, maybe when you put it in there, it turned off.
I think it has a short.
So I titled this "The Earned Success of the Clinton Engine Chainsaw," because they, from a business standpoint, really they did everything right to make the sales of the chainsaws a success. So they, of course, manufactured the chainsaws, which were extremely popular, and the ruggedness that they built into their chainsaws was far superior to their competition. And so that definitely helped, but it was a combination of what they did, besides just manufacturing the chainsaw, that made it so successful. So they had dealer and networking sales, advertising and marketing. They had their service schools, and that training at those service schools also helped fuel the success of the sales of Clinton engines. They supplied their dealers with training on both how to sell and how to service. And then they had live demonstrations. And those were held at the dealerships, but then they also held live demonstrations like at a customer's home or place of business. They were involved in sales with, I think that would have to do with like government purchases, in the parks, that type of thing, anywhere where a chainsaw might be used. So it wasn't just for people for their private use, for chainsaws. But I was kind of surprised to find out that there were 1,000 Clinton field service schools that were in operation. I don't know exactly what date that was, but I would say probably sometime in the 50s. And many of the locations, there were just so many locations here and then also abroad, but they included places like Clinton, Michigan, Hayden Lake, Ohio, I don't know how to say this name, in Louisiana, Quebec, Canada, and of course they held quite a few here in Maquoketa. And then they also had a lot of trade and home shows, and those also produced large turnouts, and that helped to promote and market their product. They hosted representatives of distributors and manufacturers of Clinton from foreign lands such as Holland, Sweden, South Africa, Norway, and the United Kingdom. In 1962, this is a picture of Matt Carroll, and both on the right and on the left, and it says that he shows his expert style at testing Clinton chainsaws. So a longtime business acquaintance says that if there is any one word that characterizes the business and personal philosophy of Matthew Carroll, president of Clinton Engines Corporation, the word is integrity. And do we have a lot about him in this museum? We do not. Okay.
I think so.
Moral business practice is a part of his religion, and he carried it into every facet of his business life, into every phase of his business responsibilities. He believed that business success depends to a large extent on integrity of product, integrity of selling, and integrity in all relationships with suppliers and employees as well as customers. So it's, just a really good business model to follow. He joined the organization in 1961. Typically, he is addicted to personally checking out Clinton products. He became fairly expert in tree felling and bucking by comparing Clinton chainsaw performance against the competitive saws. His big home lawn has become a testing ground for Clinton-powered motors and tillers, and his interest in boating has risen with his interest in Clinton outboard motors. His preoccupation with superior performance and reliability undoubtedly stemmed from his years in farm machinery manufacturing, where he says it's got to work or else. But you had heard of him before, right, Bonnie? Okay. Look to the heart. The most important part of the powerful Clinton chainsaw was the sturdy, dependable Clinton engine, built for performance. So that was kind of their trademark. This is a 1956 advertisement featuring the new direct drive. And this was the wood whittler, the model on the left. In the center, the direct drive Model D3. And on the right, the direct drive Model D4. I was going to pass along some of these artifacts as we talk about this a little bit. This is a replica of a section of the chain on the chainsaw. And I'll have Alice come pass that around. And then we also have, this would have been the tools that were used to sharpen it. And then I've got some parts here on display. There's a gentleman in the back here that was good enough to tell me what these parts were because I've forgotten. My husband told me and I've forgotten what they were. But this is a muffler, and this wasn't originally, I think maybe they didn't have a muffler, and this was added. I think it was to their D3 model, but I'm not sure. And then here's a mystery I'm hoping somebody can solve. This is a part on a chainsaw. Do not remember what this is used for. So when it's passed around and you find out what that is, maybe you could let me know, and we'll share that. So Clinton introduced the new direct drive chainsaws at low prices for 1956. The new Clinton direct drive wood whittler, and that was pictured in the last slide, is the lowest cost chainsaw on the market, and it listed for $159.95. No other air-cooled gasoline engine gives so many advantages. In 1956, the Clinton Machine Company was proud to announce the fourth completely new Clinton chainsaw called King of the Woods. The new heavy-duty saw, Clinton Model 577, designed for production cutting and all-around utility use. The saw also featured Clinton's new nitro-ebonized process guide bars, which had even greater anti-corrosive and greater wearing qualities than the famous long-life bars made by Clinton's quality heat treatment methods. More than 100 million worth of chainsaws were to be sold that year. 100 million that year. And the market was only 3% saturated. As the old prospector said, there's gold in them there hills, let's dig it. So it wasn't just, they did everything right from a business standpoint, but there was a demand, If there was only saturation at 3%, you had all of those other customers out there to tap into. Then the Clinton announced 2 new bow saw assemblies in 1956. And so see how those are? Has anybody seen a bow saw? I'm sure we probably have a bow saw here.
I don't.
But I guess I've never seen one. And obviously you can kind of see where it got the name bow saw.
I don't think we have one.
No?
We don't.
I've never seen one either.
Okay.
Wow.
So they featured Clinton's famous stellite tips on all friction riding surfaces or plates where the friction in the saw was greatest. Thus it gave it longer wear and use.
I didn't do it right.
So then chainsaw service, and they had a lot of service centers set up. And this was their 6-point chainsaw service model. And so you could take it into one of those chainsaw places and they would perform all of those things as far as tightening and adjusting and lubricating and so on. And I was talking to, and I should have gotten your name.
I don't know what it was for.
In the back here, he was helping me identify some of the parts, and he said that he had a little bit of problem with his chainsaw, that it wasn't cutting straight. And so I wonder if there was, something there as far as in those 6 points that wasn't done to his saw that made it not operate correctly.
I have no clue what it is.
1956.
Diagram before, I should have picked it.
Clinton Service Center dealers are reaching more and more service customers. Since the new Clinton $3 6-point service plan was introduced, so for $3, that, you know, seems like a good deal. Many service centers are selling Clinton chainsaw accessories. So they did a lot to help the dealers make money. And so then, you know, that kept them enthused about the product, I'm sure. But the accessories included the guide bar, the cutting chains, the bow saw attachment. Oh, so maybe that's why we don't have that. It's just an attachment? I don't know. And a low cutting attachment. The giant 28 by 38 inch wall poster, folder, and chainsaw shipping carton label are being mailed or given to retailers to promote Clinton's $3 6-point service plan. So the 1956 service tips for the direct saw, and they've got those labeled here. Install the guide bar, install the oil plate, install the connector and the bridge assembly, and then the final step is when the assembly is secure, that's when you tighten or you adjust the chain tension. Was anybody able to identify that one part that we said we don't know what it is? No? 1956, one word tells how the Clinton chainsaw line can bring in summer business and be a year-round profit maker. The word is service. Each Clinton chainsaw sold will need an average of $50 in service at one time or another. Bring the bulk of that service business in during the summer months by promoting the advantages of chainsaw service during the off-season. When the customer brings in his chainsaw, find out if he had been thinking of a larger Clinton for the next season. Or perhaps he should be reminded of the low-cost chainsaw engine trade-in plan. So that wasn't just for the chainsaws, but they had that trade-in plan with other things where you could, I don't know that I suppose a dealer just resold those used items. So chainsaw dealers, now I've got a question for you. This is a picture of Floyd Hurley. Is this the Floyd Hurley that had lived in Macoka and was the insurance agent? Does anybody know? I mean, it looks a little like him, but this is what it said in the caption though. So he didn't live here at the time this picture was taken. A sale is not completed until the customer knows how to efficiently operate the equipment. That's the policy of Floyd Hurley, owner of Floyd's Automotive Service, Clinton's service and sales rep in Ottumwa, Iowa. He takes an extra few minutes to explain all the adjustments on Clinton engines and chainsaws and stresses correct lubrication. His policy must have some merit because he is doing an outstanding job of selling and servicing Clinton products. So do you think, I mean, I think it looks like him. So maybe he moved here then?
His children have been in to look around the museum and talk about it.
Okay, so it's probably him. 1957, Carol McKay uses his station wagon. Remember I said they went out and they did demonstrations. And so his first year selling and servicing, he sold more than 70 chainsaws. And it says he's got, I guess not very clear there, but he's got a decal on his window advertising his chainsaws. And he said, you know, it proves that demonstration is what really sells the saws. He said when he's demonstrating, he starts the saw and he warms it up before making a few cuts in front of his prospect. Then he lets the prospect use the saw. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, you know, liability and all that stuff, you know, that we worry about now. And once the prospect gets a Clinton saw in his hands, the fast cutting almost always surprises him. 1956, many service centers find there's giant profits in chainsaws. An Indiana hardware business takes in an extra $10,000 each year, selling over 40 chainsaws each year. He has found, this one dealer, that he can make more profit out of a chainsaw sale than he could when he sells a refrigerator.
Wow.
And his crew would go out and they demonstrate right on the farm. And he said in that way they kind of escaped the formality of the store, sold a lot more chainsaws that way. This chainsaw dealer in West Union tells about his success. And he says, I attribute my success to the fact that the Clinton Machine Company puts out an excellent product. And he turned down many opportunities to sell other brands because Clinton were far superior. And this article appeared in the Clinton Arrowhead. I brought some of those publications in a few months back. And so this was talking about in 1958, 1959, the Chainsaw Field Service Program to help dealers become service centers. So they helped set all that up for the dealers so that they could be successful in selling the saws. And then the trade shows. In 1958, it says hundreds of Minnesota dealers representing a wide variety of trades were shown the extensive Clinton line during trade shows held in 8 different cities by National Bushing and Parts Company, Clinton Central Distributor. And they had 65 dealers that attended that show. I'm not sure why the pictures are just not very clear. Is that an adjustment? I guess mine are looking clear up here. Okay, that one's a little bit better. And then this one says they like Clinton chainsaws in France too. The French have a name for it, and it's Clinton. And this was held, it was an agricultural show. And then this is featuring a dealer at a Toledo home show and travel show. They had 1,500 people that visited their booth, and they sold 13 chainsaws. 1956, I think that's kind of cool. They do the grand opening ceremony by using a chainsaw to cut the ribbon. And this was at the National Hardware Show in New York's Coliseum. President John Thomas said this honor was only made possible by the fine work of the entire Clinton family. It's 2,500 employees, and this is in 1956, 62 central and 845 service distributors, 10,000 dealers, and over 1,200 OEMs. And so thousands of visitors flocked to the Clinton engine booth. One of the biggest attractions at the show was a magician, the great Delage, who cut his wife in half 3 times a day with a Clinton chainsaw. The New York Herald Tribune carried a picture of the magician's act and his story. Throughout the hardware show, promotion-minded manufacturers are attracting order-minded buyers with the old razzmatazz. And so there's a picture of the magician cutting his wife with the chainsaw. And that was in 1956.
We went on eBay, we figured out what this thing is.
Okay.
It's a muffler.
It is a muffler.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So we actually had 2 mufflers then to show. Clinton introduced in 1958 a chainsaw line with straight line cutting theme. So maybe before, maybe they weren't as good at cutting straight. 1958, let's talk profits. In just a few short years, the chainsaw accessory business has reached a tremendous volume, and we talked about that a little bit before, how the dealers could make some extra money on selling those accessories. And then there was the advertising and marketing, and so they have, this is what So part of it was for newspaper, you'd pick the one that you wanted, cut it out, give it to your advertising representative to go into the newspaper. Then you also had posters, and you can see this one is made for the foreign market. This booklet right here, I'm sure many of you remember Faye McKinsey. And so this is his sales and service chainsaw booklet that he would have used while working at Clinton Engines. Just pass that one around. They had the Clinton chainsaw signs, and we have those, of course, in the museum. You could get these signs, and listen to this, these were 30 gauge steel, 36 cents a piece the dealer could buy those for.
Is that one there?
Maybe. John Harris is responsible for this unusual mobile merchandising advertisement. And you see it, that's what I can't really see because it's not very clear, but there's a chainsaw mounted on the top of his vehicle there. And then he's got all the decals on the back and on the windows. And there's another picture of that. They had a nationwide cooperative advertising program designed to provide 30 million impressions among potential users. And it supported the Clinton Engines line for the season 1962-63 for the chainsaws. 17 farm publications were used by the dealers as well and distributors in the territories. So Ann, we all have to listen to this one. A contest for salesmen would support the chainsaw promotional line. First prize for the best slogan, a Corvair. Didn't you say you had a Corvair, Ann? Did you tell me you had a Corvair? Car?
Did you have a Corvair car?
Somebody said they had one and they wish they'd never sold it, but that was the first prize. And then second prize, they were awarded a Clinton outdoor motor. Then Clinton chainsaws had radio spots. And these inexpensive radio spots carry your sales message to thousands of prospects. So I'm going to go ahead and play one of these radio spots.
Oh boy, that Clinton chainsaw really cuts. Took less than a minute to put that tree on the ground.
Yeah, this Clinton chainsaw is really powerful. I like the way it turns woodlot timber into extra family income. I figure this pulpwood will clear around $600, enough for a down payment on my wife's new automatic kitchen.
Say, I'll bet you paid a pretty penny for that, Clinton.
Nope, this'll surprise you. Most chainsaws run you $200, $250, $300. But this professional Clinton chainsaw cost me only $159.50, complete with 16-inch guide bar and chain. It's the lowest cost chainsaw on the market. Why don't you see your Clinton dealer for a free tryout in your woodlot?
Chainsaw, and there's a fast-cutting Clinton chainsaw for every cutting job. Prices start at only $159.50 FOB factory, and that price includes a 16-inch guide bar and chain. You can choose from a complete line of direct drive or belt-driven models, and remember, Clinton chainsaws are quick starting every time. Easy to operate too because of their balanced, lightweight construction. Besides that, You get tremendous cutting speed, plus dependable month-after-month operation from the world-famous Clinton engine. Start now to put trees in the bank with a Clinton chainsaw. See your local Clinton dealer now for your free tryout. Your Clinton dealer also services your Clinton chainsaw. Easy handling, and a diaphragm-type carburetor that lets you cut in any position. This Clinton D4 chainsaw is dependable too, because it's powered by the world-famous quick-starting Clinton engine, and it's the only chainsaw with a low-cost 15-minute replacement engine. Start now to put trees in the bank with a Clinton chainsaw.
I'll see if we have time to play more of those at the end. (1953), now more than 2 million Clinton engines servicing farm, home, and industry. And the Clinton Convincer chainsaw was $239.50. 1959, and again this is from the Arrowhead publication. Now, a new advance in match power for greater ease and speed. 1959, this is a school bus stop, and it's advertising the quick-starting Clinton chainsaws. 1957, from the courtesy of the National Safety Council, principal hazards. So they were, concerned about people possibly falling, getting cut from the chains, falling limbs, falling trees and rolling logs, etc. 1953, Clinton chainsaw logo, as busy as a beaver. Talk about your eager beavers. This new Clinton chainsaw has amazed everyone. And they talk about what a moneymaker this was. Then I've got something else to show you here with advertising. So this is, they received an award, the Silver Award, for a corrugated display for a Clinton chainsaw. And this is the corrugated display. And we do have one of these upstairs in the Don Thomas room in a glass case. We don't have maybe that top. We don't have the bottom part of the log, but we have that top part. I just thought that was pretty fascinating that they actually won an advertising award for that, for making that corrugated wood model. 1957, a chainsaw, a handful of power. A chainsaw is one power tool that thousands of farmers like and use because the farmers save time, and he knows that time is money. And so there's a lot of ways that they were used around the farm. It said, for instance, reduce farm construction costs, improve the farm tree crop, make the task of fencing easy and quick, supply cordwood cheaply, and increase profits for pulp. Farm boys like to use chainsaws. Here's a photo from 1958, and they're gathered at the Riverside Motel at Lansing, and they were the Clinton service distributors from Michigan. 1959, shades of Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln would have welcomed the Clinton chainsaw in the hands of his modern-day lookalike, Les Wallace of Sparks Northwest, Clinton distributor in Portland. Les, a chainsaw specialty man, is all bearded up for the Oregon Centennial Celebration, running from June to September in Portland in 1959. They also had billboard advertising to promote the chainsaws. And they had chainsaw contests and exhibitions. 1958, new idea for your chainsaw display. And this dealer, he used native timber and bark slabs that were supplied by a local sawmill to build his exhibit. And he did that so he could attract more attention, which he did. Implement Parlay at Grand Rapids, where approximately 1,000 farm equipment dealers attended to view nearly $500,000 worth of farm implement and other equipment. 1958, do 30 minutes in 2 with Clinton chainsaws. 1959, these two men helped customers pick chainsaws at the National Corn Picking Contest held in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, seen as the Clinton chainsaw display for Hogan's Carburetor and Electric. In 1959, shows the before and the after. The crowd gathered to watch cutting demonstrations and to discuss the Clinton advantages. 1956, this was held in Quebec City, Canada. One of the largest North American trade shows. The exhibition attracted more than 400,000 visitors. And Clinton's Canadian distributor, United Auto Parts, reports that they had one of the most popular displays. Judging by the high pile of sawdust just to the right of this Clinton chainsaw, I'm really sorry these pictures aren't better. They just aren't showing up very good. Many visitors to this year's Maryland State Fair discovered the exceptional performance of the 1959 Clinton chainsaws. Shown is a Japanese operator running a Clinton chainsaw at a recent Japanese lumberman's exhibit. And that drew thousands of people to that exhibit. And then there was also one that was sponsored in New Orleans. This lineup at the Iowa State Fair illustrates how rocks keep a big display looking neat. And the sponsor of this exhibit was Lally's Clinton Central Distributor out of Des Moines. Woman wins second place in the logging contest. Gail Anderson of Minneapolis, who never used a chainsaw in her life, sawed her way into second place in the International Women's Log Cutting Championship in Minnesota with a Clinton D4 chainsaw. She's an X-ray technician who graduated from the University of Michigan in 1956. And so the Clinton chainsaw owners, they took second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh place in the men's division. They didn't get first, but they got all of those other places for the 5 horsepower class. And then they had jamborees that were used to sell chainsaws. And what they would do is they would mail out these inexpensive flyers, and they'd offer free coffee and donuts and cider. And then when the people were there, then they would use that opportunity, of course, to have them see and use a Clinton chainsaw, which then led to many sales. And here's a picture from one of those jamborees. This jamboree in 1958 attracted an 8-year-old who handled his Clinton D2 with authority. And in 1957, the D4 1 series chainsaws were used in forestry thinning demonstration. And this was held in Georgia. A great deal of interest was shown in tree production as a major source of farm income in this area. And this jamboree photo taken in Michigan in 1958. And again in 1958, this was in Minnesota. In 1953, Canadian bucksaw champ cuts 10-inch log in 6 seconds. Awarded Clinton chainsaw, a modern-day Paul Bunyan, is 22-year-old Gerard Lavoie, winner in the recent Canadian Log Sawing Championship. Said he's a strapping 200-pounder, and he set the remarkable record of 6.1 seconds for sawing through 10 inches. Interest ran high at the East Swiss Agricultural Fair in Switzerland, and being shown is the D41 chainsaw. And in 1956, the governor of Arkansas is shown trying out a Clinton chainsaw. The Arab had recommended simple demonstrations of the wood whittler for farmers, construction, and odd job men. The famous Convincer series, which were referred to as the big boys, would be appreciated by professional woodlot operators. And this chainsaw demonstration appeared in a Swedish newspaper, and explaining the new improvements in American chainsaws. And they pointed out that Clinton had that replacement engine. 1957 Bride demonstrates D4. The new bride of Jerry Kaplan, owner of a hardware store in Pierpont, Ohio, proves in this snapshot that even gals have no trouble in operating Clinton chainsaws. Maybe some of you service stations are missing a bet by not putting on a chainsaw specialty woman. 1958, faster than Paul Bunyan, and this log cutter cuts a notch with modern chainsaw, a Clinton 5771. And here in 1958, kind of showing the riding a log to its berth on a flatbed trailer and using the poles and how they, marketed these logs to get them to the sawmill. Uh, 1953. This is in Montreal, Canada, and he's shown testing the cutting power of the Clinton chainsaw. In 1959, this road, shown during completion, was quickly carved by Clinton chainsaws from a northern Minnesota wilderness. The contractor used 11 saws, cutting continuously for 10 hours each day, to clear trees from a path 11 miles long and 200 feet wide. His report, these Clinton chainsaws required the least maintenance of any chainsaw he'd ever used. Okay, so that was the last slide. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the service schools then. They provided those to be able to help these dealers make the sales as well and to profit, from servicing them. And what I found interesting, if you want to pass this one around, is there's two photos here, and these are pictures of people that attended the service school. And in one of them, that the young boy is clearly probably under 10 years of age, and the other one looks to be maybe 13 or 14. And so I was wondering, does anyone know on the service schools, was there not an age limit, or was this like a special exception? Maybe their parent was taking the school with them? Does anybody know on that, with the service schools? So when you attended a service school, and we'll pass these around, you got this really cool certificate. And then you also got, I suppose, one to put in your wallet. And then I'm assuming that everyone got one of these porcelain signs, showing that you were a graduate. So I think they just made it, a really big deal. I'll just play a few more since we've got some time, a few more of these radio spots if you'd like to hear those. And then I do have another record as well, and we think, well, I know Don Thomas's voice is on one of the spots. Whether or not that's a chainsaw one, I'm not sure.
Direct Drive D4 chainsaw really multiplies your earnings. It gives you all the advantages: tremendous chain speed, balanced, lightweight construction for easy handling, and a diaphragm-type carburetor that lets you cut in any position. This Clinton D4 chainsaw is dependable too, because it's powered by the world-famous quick-starting Clinton engine, and it's the only chainsaw with a low-cost 15-minute replacement engine. Start now to put trees in the bank with a Clinton chainsaw. There's a complete line of both direct and belt-driven models. See your local Clinton dealer for your free tryout. And remember, your Clinton dealer also services your Clinton chainsaw. The gold mine, it's a uranium field. No, sir, it's a woodlot worth $1,000 and more per acre every year to the farmer that owns it. You, too, can put big money in the bank from trees, harvested on your land with a quick-starting Clinton chainsaw. Watch this powerful Clinton chainsaw in action and see how you can turn trees into cash. Notice how easily it handles, how fast it cuts, and you can cut in any position with a Clinton chainsaw. Your county agent can tell you about the market for timber in your area and estimate the worth of your woodlot. See him soon. Then see your Clinton chainsaw dealer for free tryout on your own place. Lift Clinton, try Clinton, and you'll buy Clinton. America's biggest chainsaw value. Look for the Clinton Arrowhead.
I guess we don't really think about this today now with farmers, so, you know, we're really not marketing wood like they did.
Starting Clinton chainsaw. See your county agent for information on farm woodlots and how you too can cash in on the cash crop that grows 25 feet tall. With a powerful fast-cutting Clinton chainsaw, you can clear more money off an acre of trees than you can from any other crop. See your Clinton chainsaw dealer for free tryout. Lift Clinton, see how lightweight it is. Try Clinton, see how easily it handles. Remember, Clinton is the only chainsaw with a 15-minute replacement engine. No other chainsaw has it. Look for the Clinton Arrowhead. Start putting trees in the bank with your quick-starting Clinton chainsaw.
Oh, and before I forget to mention too, Bonnie mentioned that in the back there is a display. It's kind of like a trunk, and it's on loan from the Bob Hayes family, right? Bob Hayes, I believe. And it is it has all of the parts inside for a salesman that would be traveling around trying to sell chainsaws. So it has a breakdown of all the parts, and so.
And I think the fun thing about that is if you look really closely at the chain itself, for a long time they even made the chains for the chainsaw, and almost every link, well, every few links, it'll say Clinton on the link for the chainsaw, right? For the blade that goes on.
Oh, it does. Okay.
The chain.
The actual on the chain.
On the
it said-
chain.
It said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sue, you talk about that chainsaws were only marketed to farmers, but now even people in town with the hurricanes and the tornadoes and the derechos, a lot of people own chainsaws for that.
Yes, but no, they didn't just market to farmers. That was one of the big, but they also like industry and with like the road crews and so.
Regular common people.
Yes, yes,
That's right.
exactly. Okay, so this one, I'm not sure which is which. So along with the marketing then, you know, they spent a lot of money. So this one is from the pro football game. And I think we have some more information about that upstairs. And that was, I already put the records, 1958. So there's different spots on here. The third spot is a chainsaw ad, and then the last one is Don Thomas's voice. So I'm not sure which is, when you're looking at this on a record, that is the outer ring, the first spot, or is it the inner ring? We'll try it.
We don't remember.
I think it's outer.
The outer ring would be number 1?
On a record, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to try the last one, and just so you can hear Don Thomas's voice.
Hello, I'm Don Thomas. As president of the Clinton Insurance Corporation, I think you ought to know about our new sales policy because it directly concerns everyone who manufactures and everyone who buys gasoline-powered equipment for homes, farms, or industry. Our policy is simply this: to protect the public, we will not sell our engines to manufacturers of lawnmowers, tillers, tractors, pumps, or hundreds of other applications unless we first are satisfied that these products meet our high standards of quality, performance, and safety. This means that you will find Clinton engines only on the finest equipment. You may buy them with complete confidence.
To find your Clinton dealer, look in the yellow pages under engine.
Okay, so that was Don Thomas's voice. So now this one, next one is going to be about chainsaws, but I'm not sure if it's his voice or not.
Not only do Clinton air-cooled gasoline engines supply the power for the products of over 800 leading manufacturers, but they're also the heart of such completely Clinton-made products as the Clinton chainsaw. There are 4 basic models, all of them power match. Yes, power match to the job. Professional woodsmen, farmers, homeowners, and municipal employees prefer them for the many diversified jobs they perform. From the ball bearing roller tip to the fast-track chain to the powerful Clinton engine, a Clinton chainsaw is perfectly power match. Yes, power match to its job and completely Clinton manufactured. So too is the Clinton air-cooled outboard motor, an amazingly convenient.
Did you notice on that they were kind of playing some Native American type music, and I hadn't heard that before.
And all their lawnmowers and everything were called the Chief and the,
That's true, yeah.
so everything, and their arrowheads, so everything was around Native American things.
So I have more pictures up here if you want to come up and look, of people that attended the service schools, and then just different publications that they have here, sales and service manuals and so on. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they'd like to add that they know about the chainsaws? Would like to
Are
share?
these from a coconut?
Not necessarily, although
Some of them are.
I don't know if this gentleman here, and I did know his name and I've forgotten, but he was like the head of the service. And so I don't know that he would have traveled around. I would have thought he would have just did the schools here, but I don't know.
I bet he traveled.
You think he traveled? Okay.
He traveled everything else.
Yeah.
Did they do the school?
I just didn't know if they had time
They
since
did.
he was doing so many schools here, that if they had somebody else that they
I would guess.
trained.
Sure.
They advertise that they're really low on their price. I'm kind of wondering how they end up being lower than other.
How they were able to keep their prices down low? That's a very good question. Maybe on volume, do you think, because they,
And then you passed a home light poster around earlier. Is it, I guess you're probably saying the Clinton engines are those home lights then?
No.
Or no?
I wondered the same thing.
where, I guess I don't remember what that was.
That big poster that Alice passed around mentioned home light. I didn't know if there was a connection.
I think they're a different company.
It's laying over there on that far
So
table.
it's over here on the table, I think,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
on the far table.
Here it is right here. Home light, chainsaw poster.
Oh, okay, okay. So that was, oh, I'm going to pass around something else here too.
Maybe, it might just go up against them or something. And they're just showing how they get here.
Oh, okay, okay. No. Oh, this wasn't even Clinton engine.
No.
Oh, I didn't mean to pass this.
Okay.
Thank you for
I'm glad I
mentioning
clarified
that.
that.
Yeah.
Start a rumor that they provide engines.
No, but then this, you know, we have all these flyers now, you know, from Lowe's and Menards and all this. So this I'll pass around, and this is a flyer that would have come out in a newspaper.
Not growing up here, I have a question that maybe everybody else knows that I don't. Why were they called Clinton engines if it wasn't in Clinton County or in Clinton, Iowa?
They came from Clinton, Michigan.
Michigan.
Okay.
So,
And what year did they close officially?
There's no official date.
I didn't think there was. Did
yeah,
somebody,
I'm not sure on that. No.
It was a gradual thing.
because somebody on Facebook was asked.
Yeah. I think in '62 or '63, I bought a D, a 35D, 25D Clinton engine for my dad. And he had had an accident prior to that, and he wasn't able to lift because of his accident. And I used it myself, and I found out that it was a little heavy at that time, but that it would cut large logs just by holding it on there and letting it cut down through.
Okay, so that was one of the bigger, heavier models?
Yeah, it was medium.
Yes. And I think we have some decals for that model upstairs in that Don Thomas room too. And so there are more things with the Clayton chainsaws upstairs. Then I had a little, it's kind of a little block, you know, that you would have inked, and then a picture of a chainsaw.
So you might just mention that over on that part of the building, on the lower level, was a school for a long time. That
Oh.
was the school. Then they moved down to what we probably call the Waddy building now. Clinton Engine owned that, and they moved their service school down there.
But otherwise, the service school was in that
It's-
room.
Yeah. And
Okay.
when they had the school, so many people would come in from all over the world that we didn't have enough hotel rooms, motel rooms, et cetera, at that time. So Clinton Engine had contracts with just individuals for a room in their home. So whenever a service school came, they had rooms.
And they paid then the people
And then they paid the people.
to
And
host
then-
the service
right.
school attendees, okay.
And then we have some little coupons that they handed out to the service school attendees so that they could get meals at the restaurants downtown and things like that. But when a service school came in, it was a big deal for the whole community.
And it appears, and I'm trying to think now of pricing, but it appears that they weren't trying to make money on their schools. That was all part of, to help the people to be able to sell and to service their product.
Maybe they didn't travel then.
But they did actually, they had service schools all over the country.
All over
Yeah,
the world.
All over the world, yep, all over the world. It's just that I'm not sure, you know, this one gentleman, that he would have been so busy with Makokata schools, whether or not he would have. And maybe he trained, maybe they trained the trainers here to go on out. I'm just not really sure. Lots of unanswered questions. you
There
know.
are.
Yes.
Years and years ago, when I was employed in the hospital, we bought a new piece of equipment. Included in the price of that equipment was a training school. I remember I went to one in Delaware, I went to one in Dallas, I went to one like in Boston. Anyway, you bought the instrument, you got paid, or a coupon or whatever for one or two individuals from your hospital lab to go to, all expenses paid, airfare was paid for you and everything, to go to these locations where the service schools were located. So you spent your week there and then they send you home again.
You know, that was really good. I mean, because I'm sure that equipment was quite expensive. And no one would have been able to operate it if that hadn't been included in
It's so
the
large
sale.
that you just couldn't go from face to face. You'd need a big van, and then I think in my one class, there were 32 people attending. So, and they had to schedule these classes because they only had a certain number of the instruments in their training room. So you had to have like enough instruments or people to fill it, 2 to 3 people per instrument in this room, where the instructors would give you the information on how to maintain and service these pieces of equipment.
Okay, and I don't know if you heard that, but he had worked at the hospital. When they would buy a piece of equipment, included in the sale was training on how to use that equipment. And so then he would go to those training sessions with other people.
And the people that came to the schools were distributors, and then they came and they learned how to tear things down, repair things, put them back together, troubleshoot, and then they went back to their area of the country, their distributorship, and they had all the information then. So it wasn't just anybody who came to a school, it was the dealers, the distributors, people like that came to learn that, to go take the knowledge back to wherever they were, because they were a worldwide company.
Yes, yeah. It was just such a big networking operation for that time period, you know? I don't know how many other companies really did that, you know, that impacted so many different countries.
Was that Floyd Hurley? Did he teach that here?
Yes, I think you're right.
I think he did.
I think Floyd Hurley was the man who lived in Maquoketa and ran Maquoketa Service School in here for many years.
Okay, and he was the same, because he had lived in Ottumwa and had come to Maquoketa from Ottumwa. Okay, I wondered because it looked like him.
Yeah.
Because we did, I mean, a lot of people did move here because of flood engines. So
Absolutely.
maybe the opportunity for him. Maybe they solicited people that, you know, already were familiar with the engines to come here and work. You know, I don't know. Todd?
It's like your little record player there. Where did you come across the advertising record?
This advertising record?
Yeah. You know.
We've had those for a number of years. I don't know if they at one time belonged to my father-in-law. And there is one on display upstairs in the Don Thomas room, and is there another record on display upstairs as well?
We have a couple, I'm not sure they're on display.
But this last one that I played was the pro football game. Was featured on that, and there's the tickets to that game are upstairs as well. I forget who played.
Well, that was because Clinton Engine sponsored the last championship game in 1950.
1958. Okay, they
That was the
sponsored it.
last
That's right.
game before the Super Bowls began.
Okay.
Then when the Super Bowls began, you know how the advertisements in the Super Bowls, more people watch that for the advertisements almost than for the game. And the game that Clinton Engine sponsored that Sue's talking about is played almost every year at around New Year's. They play that game between the New York Giants and the Baltimore Colts. It's called The Greatest Game Ever Played, and Clinton Engine sponsored that game. And we've always been looking for a film of that game that has the ads in it. But when you see it on TV every year, they've, of course, taken the ads out, so you don't get to see them.
Oh, sure.
So,
Is that what that display is upstairs?
that is.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome, Sue. Thank you very much.